What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Still Straight Fire Running, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a recap of day 2 of the U.S. World Championship trials, as well as a preview of day 3. So let's get into it.
I'm feeling good.
All right, so starting things off with a recap of day 2. We saw the men's and women's 800s and some great fields being set for the finals there. So looking at the men in Heat 1, we saw Brendan Miller take that heat and Donovan Brazier close behind in second, followed by Isaiah Harris, the former NCAA champion, in third, all getting qualifying spots. Miller and Brazier with a big Q, Harris with a little Q, but no surprises there, but still great to see Donovan Brazier make the finals. Heat 2, we saw Bryce Hoppel take the win ahead of Cooper Luckenhaus, the 16-year-old. Also crazy, but if you look at the performances he's put together recently, no surprise there. Age is just a number, so yeah, it's great to see a 16-year-old competing at this level, but just given what he's done this season, no real surprise there. Moving on to Heat 3, we saw Josh Hoey and Colin Salmon take the big Qs. Obviously, no surprise with Hoey. He's an American record holder, but great to see him make it through the semis and into the finals. I was, however, surprised about Colin Salmon, especially after being knocked from the 1500 in the first round at NCAAs this year. I was not too confident in his abilities coming into the trials, but he's really turned it on after NCAAs and just run some incredibly fast 800s. I guess he's starting to turn into more of an 800-meter runner. Don't know if something's changed in his training or if that's just what he's more suited towards. We also saw Abraham Alvarado and Camden Marshall qualify out of that heat on time. So yeah, basically solid field set up for the finals, and very excited to watch that on Sunday. Moving on to the women's 800, once again, another incredible field for the finals. In Heat 1, we saw Nia Atkins and Aji Wilson qualify through with a big Q. Megan Hunter qualified based off time. Heat 2, we saw Sage Hurta-Klecker take the win over Maggie Congdon. We also saw 2 qualifiers based off time in that heat, Raven Rogers and Valerie Tobias. Moving on to Heat 3, unlike the men, no time qualifiers here, so surprising to see that. But Roisin Willis and Allison Wiley got the big Q out of this heat. Also, incredible time for, everyone's been talking about how stacked the men's 1500 is, the men's 800 is, yada yada. But this goes across all distances and on the women's side as well. The only thing different is that we've seen the women's 800 stacked before on the world stage, but now it's just the times are getting faster. So we have these women still competing at the world stage, but they're just running a whole lot faster. We saw 3 women go sub 2 in the semis and not qualify for the finals, one of which was Athing Mu. Like, I really thought after her win in round 1 that she was going to gain a new set of confidence that we haven't seen from her in a while, but she was not able to put it together in the semis, unfortunately, and she will not be competing in the finals. Moving on to the men's and women's 100 meter, and the only surprises here was that Sha'Carri did not compete in the semis or the finals. She was arrested leading into the trials, but yeah, crazy story. But we saw Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, Kayla White, and Alia Hobbs qualify on the women's side, and Kidney Bednarek, Courtney Lindsay, and Tamars McCallum qualify on the men. Also surprising to note was that Noah Lyles did not compete. Obviously, we knew this because he didn't run round 1, but yeah, it just seems that the only surprises out of the 100 meters were who didn't qualify just because of a lack of racing, which was Lyles and Sha'Carri. All right, so now we're done with the recap and time to get into a little preview of today's action. We are very interested in the 1500s and the 3,000 meter steeplechase. Got an incredible set of fields accumulated here, and very excited to watch to see how they play out. So starting things off with the women's 1500. We have 5 women with the World Championship standard. We have Nikki Hiltz, Emily McKay, Heather McLean, Sinclair Johnson, and Helen Schlafenhauser. Out of these 3 women, I think it's going to be Sinclair, Hiltz, and McKay to make the team. They obviously all have the standards, so that would be a set team. But yeah, just looking at Sinclair Johnson this year after that American record in the mile, I think she is going to be almost impossible to beat. Nikki Hiltz, they've been on a tear for the past few years and almost unbeatable in the United States. So I think that both of these athletes are going to come away with the qualification for the Japanese World Championships. I think that third spot is going to go to McKay. It's going to be interesting to see how her and McLean kind of clash together, both in terms of personalities and competitiveness. I don't know if there's going to be too much to worry about here, though, as they probably got everything out of their system in the first round, and they took that very professionally. So excited to see how the women's 1500 plays out. Moving on to the men, we have 6 athletes with the world standard. I could go on and on about how incredible the men's 1500 has gotten compared to recent years, but you've all heard it. Vince Ciotti, Eric Holt, Jonah Koech, Jared Nuguse, Cole Hawker, and Hobbs Kessler, all with the World Championship standard. The slowest PB in the field is Luke Hauser with a 3:33.99. He is a former NCAA champion, and he's the slowest in the field. Every single one of these athletes has run under 3:34, which just a few years ago could have made the team. All right, sorry, I know I said I wouldn't go into that, so that's enough there. Looking at the fields, I think that Nuguse and Hawker are as close to a lock as you can get in a field this deep. I think that we're going to see Nuguse take the pace early on. Hawker's just going to sit, bide his time, and I think we'll probably see him whip out that incredible kick of his and take the win over Nuguse just like he did in last year's trials. But yeah, I think that these 2 people are pretty much a lock, which is incredible to say with a field this deep. Also looking into that, I think it's going to be between Hobbs Kessler, Nathan Green, and Ethan Strand for that third spot. I think it's going to go to I think it's going to go to Hobbs Kessler. Kessler he said he's sharper than he's ever been in his entire career. Put together some of the best training he has in his entire life recently, and I think he's going to be on another level despite losing to Strand in that prelim. Nathan Green, he won NCAAs just recently, about a month ago, but I still think that it's going to be between mainly Strand and Kessler for that third spot, but it's just so hard to count out a guy like Nathan Green. I mean, pretty much anyone in this field, you'll see Gary Martin, he just set a PR going under, and just going right at 3:33. I think Eric Holt he pretty much probably burned himself in the prelims. I think he just went all out there, and I don't think he's going to be a factor in this finals, but yeah, still going to be an incredible race nonetheless. I think the team's going to be the same as Paris 2024, and that we're going to see Nuguse, Hawker, and Kessler once again. All right, last but not least, moving on to the steeplechase. So starting with the men, we have 6 men with the World Championship standard, just like the 1500. We've been talking about how deep the men's 1500 is, but no one has been noting the steeplechase at all and how much better that's gotten just in this past year. Seemed like last year we were fighting to get 3 guys with a World Championship standard, and now we have 6, all of whom are competing at the top of their game and have been for the last year. I think that maybe Corrigan getting that standard in the last chance meet at Pin Relays last year sparked something in the men's 3,000 meter steeplechase in this country. And we've just been experiencing a boom. People finally believe they can do it. And yeah, overall, nonetheless, we have an incredible race set to happen here. Although I think the team is going to be Kenneth Rooks. He's pretty much a lock. He's undefeated in the United States over like 3 years. I think 2 and 3 are going to be Wilkinson and Updike. However, out of those 6 with the World Championship standard, the only person that would surprise me making it into the top 3 would be Duncan Hamilton. He just hasn't really been himself since college, so that would surprise me to see him make a team, but it would be great nonetheless. I could also see Daniel Mikowski running incredibly well. He's been a force to reckon with in the steeplechase for a few years now, but he recently changed up his training partners, has been training with that Run Elite program out in Utah, and I could see him kind of surprising people and even possibly making this team, if not just being very high up in the field. He had a great prelim, and it seems like every year in the steeplechase, someone unexpected makes it. Moving on to the women, we also have 6 women with the world standard. We have Courtney Waymond, Olivia Marquezich, Gabrielle Jennings, Lexi Halliday-Lowry, Val Constein, and Kaylee Mitchell, all with the standard. I think that the top 3 are going to be Courtney Waymond. She's an Olympian, also based out of Utah with Mikowski there. Lexi Halliday-Lowry for 2. And I think that 3rd spot is going to go to Angelina Napoleon, the NC State runner. She's been running incredibly recently. She won her heat, got 3rd in the NCAA, recently ran 9:10. So I think that she could pull off a surprise here and make that team. She does not have the world standard, but I would reckon that she will either get it or come away with the world ranking before the World Championships in Japan. So I would not be surprised to see her make that team.